In Australia, I'd never had any kind of experience with baboons. We don't have primates in Australia,
Right.
And it's funny because a stone throw away like Papua New Guinea and Indonesia, we've got primates, but Australia, the Australian continent, is quite unique in the fact that we don't. The closest thing probably to a primate would be, I don't know, like maybe like a possum that we got. I think that would probably be the closest thing. So essentially, I went to Africa and had like a list of all these animals that I wanted to catch. This was the first time I was there, and a savanna baboon was one of them. And I remember going into a wildlife, it was like a dingy wildlife park, and I met up with two young guys there. And I said, oh, look, I'd like to learn how to handle a wild baboon. And these two African guys look at each other, and they're like, okay, we can help. This is good. This is a life lesson.
Is that something people typically would want to do, is catch baboons? No, we have no interest in catching baboons.
No. This is a good life lesson, and I think for anyone traveling to Africa, I think they'll hear this analogy, or people who live in Africa will hear this analogy, and they'll just laugh. They'll just get it. So I was with these two very enthusiastic African young men, and they're like, "Oh, we've got some baboons here. We can show you." And I said, "Okay." So I went into the zoo, and anyway, it was like kind of this dingy menagerie where they had these, these baboons, and they were somewhat habituated. And I said, oh, yeah, cool. I said, oh, you guys know how to handle. Oh, yeah, we do a lot of the handling here, and I've caught hundreds of them before, and gave me the whole spiel on his professionalism of handling baboons and stuff. And I said, okay, is there any way that we can try and catch like a wild one? He goes, yeah, sure. He goes, actually, at the back of the zoo, we've got like a bit of like a cage trap that we can set up. And I remember, so we go down the back of the zoo, and I had another guy that was with me that was filming, and I employed just like a street kid to film. Actually, this is one of the documentaries that I got up on Netflix.
Oh, really?
Yes. It was like a 14-year-old street kid, and I taught him how to use a camera. He filmed the
That's badass,
Yeah,
dude.
he filmed the entire thing. And this kid was fearless. Like whenever I was like, right, elephant charging, I need you behind me filming. He'd be like, yep. He was a yes man.
That's cool.
He was a yes man. So anyway.
And he's a local.
So he could speak the tongue. So anyway, I felt like he should have been my first cue, because he was kind of smirking, a bit suspicious about all this whole ordeal. And anyway, went down there to the back of the zoo, and there's this big cage trap that's set up there. And anyway, we bait it with like pumpkin and everything else. And the guy's like, okay, we'll catch you. We'll give you a call. And we're only about 20 minutes out of town. I remember that morning, it was like 5:30 in the morning. Early, sunrise. I get a call. Andrew, we have a baboon. That was literally the thing. I said, oh, great, fantastic. I said, we'll be down there. And anyway, so I remember getting there, and early morning, and this thing is going wild. As soon as it spots eyes with us, this thing is like shaking the cage, and I'm talking like a cage not much bigger than this table, right? About a meter off the ground, and it's going absolutely wild. And my heart starts racing, a bit like the honey badger. Starts racing. I'm thinking, how the f*** are we going to get control of this animal?
How much do you think it weighed?
Maybe about 14 kilos.
What? Kilos?
14, 15 kilos. Oh, what do you guys use?
God damn it. We use pounds.
How?
Yeah, I don't understand metric system.
Like a small child?
Okay.
Yeah, like
how many kilos are in a pound?
Like a 2-year-old? Oh, man, I don't know. You're going back to my science days. You're really going to get me here, right?
Oh, God. Do we really have to Google this? Steve, you don't know the answer?
No.
1 pound is 0.4 kilos.
So 14 kilos, 6 pounds.
So 6 pounds. Okay, got it. 16 pounds. 6 pounds. That's like a newborn.
Yeah. Oh, well, just about a 2-year-old kid.
Okay,
this is a decent animal. And so savanna baboon, muzzle like a dog. I'm not sure if you've seen the savanna baboons. So if you type savanna baboon, that's a savanna baboon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that interesting individual right there. And so this baboon's going absolutely wild, and the birds are flying and all this kind of stuff, and they start talking in their own tongue. And I'm like, what's going on here? And the guy's like, oh, we're going to use it. It's like a stick with kind of like a fork kind of thing. And I said to myself, well, what we're going to do is this. I want you to teach me how to handle this. I was about 24, 25 years old. I want to teach me how to handle this, but then we're going to put it back in the cage trap, and then I'm going to do it by myself. The worst mistake, this is coming to the 2 times that I didn't film, is the worst mistake that I made was not recording him teaching me how to handle the baboon. Right. Because I'm supposed to be, this guy that's a know-it-all, and I'm going to come in, I'm going to show how it's done, and da-da-da. So
you wanted to pretend like you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Which I do a lot of the time. And anyway, so I remember I set up the camera, I set it on the tripod, and the guy's like, right, get up there on top of the cage and lift up the cage door. I said, okay. So as soon as I do that, now I remember there was only gaps on the mesh like so, and this thing straight away was trying to grab my feet. It was trying to bite me through the cage, and like they've got some teeth on them. Like, this is a gnarly animal. And anyway, it's trying to psych me out. It's making all these crazy noises and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I eventually managed to get the cage door up, and the guy grabs it by the tail. And I remember just watching it grab the sides of the cage door, and the cage doors are like flexing in and out, just based on the power of the animal. And at this point in time, I'm thinking, there's no way. There's no humanly way possible we're going to get control of this animal. It's just not even... And I was paying them for this. Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, they've got this thing by the tail, they're pulling out, this thing's screaming and going off, and anyway, they eventually pull it out, and I'm thinking to myself at that point in time, like, these animals are ambidextrous, and they can probably use their tail the same way as their feet, as like a leverage point, like a primate does. So anyway, I've almost got to like explain it. So he's got it by the tail, and he's holding it like this, and this thing's going crazy, and it's like trying to grab him, and then he's saying to his mate, quick, like try and pin it down with a stick. Anyway, in all this craziness, it's kind of worked out that because of the sheer weight of this animal, it can't pull itself up by its tail. So he's got it by the tail, and it's trying to pull itself up, but like gravity's working against. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, well, maybe we've got a bit of a chance here. Anyway, I'm still on the cage at this point in time, and I've jumped down and I'm saying to him, like, what can I do? How can I help? How can I help? And as he's trying to maneuver into position, what it does is it grabs the sides of the cage and goes, right, well, if I can't get you that way, I know how I'm going to get you. And it pulls itself towards the cage and then just goes, boonk, like jumps off the cage back onto him. And I mean, it happened like that. And so automatically it's went for his face. And what he's done is he's put his arm like that straight in front. Mm-hmm. And so the baboons grab him and it's bitten him on the arm. But as it's bitten him, he's turned to me. So all I'm seeing now is the back of a baboon in front of me. And my instinct straight away is like, I've got to help this. The guy's screaming, the baboon's screaming. There's just the worst energy in the world, and I've grabbed this thing by the tail and I've started pulling as hard as I could to rip this thing off. And I just remember the sheer strength of that animal holding onto him. Once again, I thought to myself, there was no way we were going to get this animal under control. Impossible. It was just too powerful. The power in this animal, quite literally. Anyway, pulling, and then finally the animal's released, and as it's released, it's hit the ground and tried to go for me, right? And I reckon I was maybe inches from being bitten as well.
And you guys went on you followed them on like a baboon hunt, or were they targeting baboon, or were they just trying to go find anything they could get?
They'll eat
to feed the village.
They'll eat anything.
And these are like, and you didn't necessarily like stay in a village proper. These guys were more of like a nomad hunting tribe.
They have a main camp and they have hunting camps. So I've gone 3 times. The first time we went to the main camp, but generally we would stay in hunting camps, which would be a couple little straw shacks, kind of like a lean-to, you know what that is?
Yeah.
And then from there we'd go hunt, but baboon is their favorite. Baboon is the best meat.
That's bizarre.
And they love eating baboon ass.
I saw that.
That's their favorite cut.
You said we like the fat ass on the baboon.
Yeah. Because baboon asses are like huge, man. Badonkadonks, big pink fatty things. So
that's so wild, man. And then there's that guy who nailed a baboon from like 100 yards away in the pitch darkness with a bow and arrow.
Homemade bow and arrow. His name was Cha'aba.
Cha'aba. Yeah.
It was one of the most incredible feats of human strength and ability I have ever seen in my life.
I was like jumping up and down when that happened, when I was watching that.
I couldn't believe it, man. Yeah, they call it going to war with baboons, man, because baboons are very aggressive, and they're smart, and they've got huge teeth like a lion would, and they attack, right? And so you saw the video where the only way we could get them is we had to go raid their camp at night. So me and the boys snuck up in bare feet in the pitch dark with our arms in front of our eyes, so the weight of bit acacias didn't hook our eyes out. And then we had to sneak up, gather rocks, and then at a certain moment, one of the guys had borrowed one of our flashlights, and we had to flick it on, and we had to make monkey sounds and throw rocks at the baboons on top of this Lion King rock, going, and they all ran around the other side where the hunting Hadza, the top guys, all just filled them full of arrows, man.
So they were on top of like this big sort of cliff type rock,
Like a bluff, like the thread of the Lion King. Yeah.
Why do they hang out on those?
Because
in the middle of the night.
Because they can see their surroundings.
Are they nocturnal?
No, but they would want to be in a spot just like you'd put a castle on a cliff, right? Because they can see their surroundings. They can see if people are coming, and they would spend half the day there. That was probably their home, and they'd go out, forage, come back. But from there, they could see most predators, not the Hadza. They're a special breed.
We had a guy in here a couple months ago, maybe 2 months ago, Andrew Eucles. He's obsessed with hand catching animals, and I forget where he was. He was in some African country. I forget which one, but he hand caught a wild baboon.
Damn, no way.
He tried to catch a wild baboon. I think he failed.
And now he's only got one hand.
No, he's a psycho, man. He's upset. He's Australian, and he goes around the world trying to hand catch these animals. And I think he found some guys like, hey, can you help me catch a baboon? And this guy, he just wanted to make money, right? And he's like, oh, of course I know how to do this. And the guy caught a baboon, put it in a giant cage, and he just wanted to go in the cage with it and hand catch it. And the baboon was like so smart, it somehow moved its way to the entrance of the cage where the door was, and it blocked him in. So he couldn't get out, and it trapped him in there. And then he ended up like climbing across the ceiling while the other guy distracted the baboon so he could escape. Like that was a scary story.
The problem with the world now is we see monkeys eating bananas and riding a tricycle.
Yeah.
But if you see any kind of monkey in real life, they are not fun. They are scary, and they'll bite your face. Right. They'll attack you. They'll grab your. Man, it's I avoid monkeys at all costs.
Yeah,
they're unpredictable, and they'll just bite your like they'll just tear your lips off. Like they don't give a
Yeah, dude, there's so many scary ass stories of monkeys attacking people. Yeah. There's videos of like monkeys stealing children on the streets.
Yeah,
it's
for
insane.
Sure. No way.
And then those guys, like another thing, how they caught that deer and the guy literally bit its throat to kill it. Like they don't use knives or anything like that. They just use their teeth.
Yeah, what I didn't show in the video, because I have to, YouTube actually has been very generous with my content, because there is some stuff in there that is very real and graphic. But they're documentaries. So in a documentary setting, and I'm not trying to glorify violence or anything. I'm just trying to show how the world is.
Right.
But what you didn't see is they took a rock the size of a fist and just smashed that poor little thing's cranium 3-4 times, then bit the throat as it cried.
Oh yeah, and they were biting its ear to try to get it to cry, to call its mother in.
Right, because it was a baby deer. You bite the ear, it goes, and then the mom comes back being like, what are you doing with my baby? And you shoot the mom, but the mom didn't come back, thank God. But that's their technique.
That's brutal, dude.
And the Hadza have, I don't know, like 7 different kinds of arrowheads.
Really?
This interspecies AI communication, correct me if I'm, I mean, we can read it, but what was explained to me was that it's a new artificial intelligence that's being developed, like a language intelligence that can decipher animal communication for us and basically translate it into something we can understand. Yeah, blow that up so we can read the bio of this company. Interspecies Internet is a multidisciplinary global think tank to encourage the acceleration of interspecies communication with 4,500 plus members, including leading sector professionals. A primary premise of the project is that the interspecies Internet can be used to both link non-human species that are not collocated and can use its computational capacity to introduce AI and machine learning methods to transduce signals from one species into coherent signals for another. So yeah, they want to basically translate animal language into human language.
I feel like something just went through my mind. I feel like if I was to compile a series of sentences which had probably came off all the animals that I've chased over the years, a lot of those sentences would run off the narrative of, why the fuck are you chasing me? Fuck off! Who is this wanker? Fuck!
Yeah, you're probably right, dude.
Straight out. That'd be like the concise thing. Yeah.
But how fucked up would that be, dude, if we could like telepathically communicate with animals?
There was a dog that I've seen. Okay, so there's been a number of animals over the years which I think have really been individualized as having this next level of intelligence. One was a African grey parrot called Alex. I think that was one. I think there was also a gorilla that was in captivity.
Is that Amy?
May have been.
Nope.
And a dog. The most recent one was the dog where, you know, they've got, I think it's called a lexigram, where they have all these different buttons that symbolize different things, like outside,
Right.
food, water. And this one was actually a really complicated like lexigram where there was almost like questions in it that evolved around motion. And I believe it's one of those, is it a Labradoodle? Like the poodle cross a Labrador?
Yeah.
One of those ones?
Yeah, yeah.
Really intelligent. This was the most interesting part, was the dog went up to it and it pressed it simultaneously. It pressed the button that said, "What am I?" and then walked over and looked into the mirror and looked at the owner. What? That's deep.
Wow.
That's deep. That's deep.
Wow.
That's deep. What am I? That's deep.
That is very deep. What the fuck, man? That's interesting. Yeah, I gotta find that.
Coco.
Coco, that's it. Because there was a famous scene with Robin Williams with Coco. And I think it learnt sign language, it was able to communicate. There's an interesting study that they done years ago, and this is actually really scary. I think is one of those Russian experiments where they put a child and a chimpanzee together at a very, very young age, and essentially the experiment was to teach this chimpanzee human knowledge and human traits and behavior and all that kind of stuff. I think the experiment only went on for a couple of months and then they had to shut it down. You know why? Because it was actually the child that was starting to learn the traits of the chimpanzee. Because animals have such a hardwired behavioral system, and everything that they have is so hardwired. And it was interesting to see that it was the human brain that had that plasticity or that adaptability, and it was actually absorbing more information from. No way. So yeah, which I thought was fascinating. Truly fascinating.